Associates, coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We're going to go live to Philadelphia with an update on the plane crash from the Emergency Management Agency in Philadelphia. Stand by.
Are you all connected? Can you hear us well? I know some people were saying they had no audio. Okay, we'll just give it a few seconds. Sherelle Parker, Mayor, City of Philadelphia. Hello, Sherelle Parker, Mayor, City of Philadelphia. Let me just start by thanking you all for being here. Today is Saturday, February the 1st. I want to give you an overview of where we stand. This remains an ongoing investigation, so the situation remains fluid and active. Our Philadelphia Police Department, our Fire Department, Office of Emergency Management, first responders, with all of our local, state, and federal partners, they all worked through the night at this crash site. I want to personally give my deepest thanks to each of them and my gratitude for their persistence. At this point, we can confirm that there were 6 souls on board the plane that crashed on Cottman Avenue last evening. A pediatric patient, their mother, and a 4-person flight crew. This was a medical transport plane that took off from our nearby Northeast Philadelphia airport, and it was only afloat for a very short period of time before something went terribly wrong and it crashed. The aircraft, a Learjet 55, it was en route to Missouri, according to our Federal Aviation Administration. I want to be very clear that the City of Philadelphia, we mourn their loss, and they are in our thoughts and in our prayers. We can also confirm that at least one other person perished in this tragedy, and this individual was in a car. We can confirm that there are also a number of other victims who were injured in this incident, and they are being treated in area hospitals. And thus far, our count is that there are 19 injured victims. But again, this is not etched in stone. The investigation is ongoing. Investigators are poring over the crash site right now. Further updates will be provided as soon as they are available, but I want to be clear that we will find a cause for this tragedy. Let me give you an update on utilities, gas, electric, and cable. PECO, we know that there have been households impacted, and PECO is working to restore power. The same goes for PGW. They are working to restore service. Interruption for which we've learned has been minimum, but they are working on it. Our other partners, like SEPTA, there are detours, and you should check for updates on their website at SEPTA.org for alerts and other advisories. We are encouraging as many people as possible in the area to stay home if you can, because this is an active investigation. However, I do want to note that we have members of our police and fire and Office of Emergency Management on all of our blocks. No Philadelphian who is in the impacted area should have a problem moving to and from their home if necessary and they have to leave. very important. Our local, state, and federal partners, they are all working together as we work to address this tragedy. And I want to give a special thank you to Ralph Hicks, who is the Senior Air Safety Investigator for the NTSB. I just spoke with Ralph shortly. I know the director is on her way. She may be here by now, but I want to say a special thank you to them, along with the FAA. Our governor, who was with me last night here and continues to be right by our side, Governor Josh Shapiro, our Pennsylvania State Police, Pennsylvania Emergency Management, the Department of Environmental Protection, of course our Philadelphia Police and Fire, Office of Emergency Management, Managing Director's Office, the American Red Cross for Southeastern Pennsylvania, our School District of Philadelphia, all of the agencies and officials, we are grateful for your support. I have to now recognize, and this is essential, because again, intergovernmental collaboration and cooperation is essential. And I do want you to know that I have been told after speaking with first responders throughout the night that this has not always been the case. But with the support of the White House, with the support of our U.S. Senators Fetterman and McCormick, our congressional delegations in Evans, Boyle, and Scanlon, every state legislator who is present here, Reps Doherty, Nielsen, Solomon, and Bellman in particular, along with State Senator Pecosi, Councilmember Driscoll, Commissioner Dealey, and the Mexican consulate is here. We want to thank you so very much. Your assistance in working with our medical technicians and scientists, it has been extremely helpful, and we are grateful for your partnership. What you witness here on today is everyone standing up together, and it is the standard operating procedure for how we will address this issue in the city of Philadelphia. The next thing we've received a number of questions about, and it's important that we listen carefully here. Shelter. There is a shelter at Samuel Fells High School located at 5500 Langdon Street here in Northeast Philadelphia. It is being operated by our Office of Emergency Management and the American Red Cross Southeastern Pennsylvania, and it is operating 24/7. The Red Cross disaster workers, they are there to assist anyone who's been displaced by this tragedy. Yes, people have already begun using the shelter, and we encourage anyone who needs assistance to take advantage of it. If you need to reach them directly, feel free to call 1-800-RED-CROSS for any kind of property damage as well, or for help in filing a claim. I want you to call 911 though if you need assistance other than shelter today. So for shelter, 1-800-RED-CROSS. Anything other than shelter, we want you to call 911. In addition to that, mental and behavioral health. It's extremely important. If you need assistance with any mental and behavioral health services, we have them available through the city's Office of DBIDS. That's our Department of Behavioral Health and Intellectual Disability Services. We want you to call them. And again, the facts, because there's so much misinformation being distributed on social media, and we can't control that. So we wanted to make sure you have access to accurate information here on today. And that number that you should call is 215-685-6440, or visit www.dbhids.org. Now, how to help others displaced or impacted by the tragedy. I happen to be a praying mayor, and I know that prayer works. And the most powerful thing that you can do, if you're home right now, if you're anywhere across the nation or in the Commonwealth or the city, and you're saying, what can I do to help offer a prayer for our city? Now is the time that we need it. However, we know people want to help, and we are going to make formal, actionable ways available for you to assist, but we do ask you to please do not come to It is still very much an active scene. No donations are needed at this time. No donations are needed at this time. If there is any formal structure, and this is extremely important, there is no GoFundMe established. Nothing has been established on social media to formally impact this. So if you are seeing that, Philadelphia, it is not formal, and we ask you to proceed with caution. I would stay away from it if I were you. We appreciate everyone's desire to help, and if anything changes, we will let you know, but we must. And this becomes extremely important as I, watch the NTSB along with the FAA work with our forensics department and our Pennsylvania State Police. Right now, they need the ability to do their jobs, and that's what we want to make sure that we give them. So they're going to continue the investigation and efforts at the crash site, and it has to continue without interruption. What about road closures? We've received questions about this as well. Go online at ReadyPHL to receive regular updates from our Office of Emergency Management. This includes information on road closures in the area and any relevant information for the public. Right now, I want to close by saying we're asking you to be patient. Your city is working around the clock with all of our local, state, and federal partners on every element of this tragedy. There are no silos. There may be specific lanes. There may be specific assignments that each of these respective agencies are responsible for, but the left hand knows what the right hand is doing, and they are collaborating on a consistent basis. And in our city of Philadelphia, my gosh, are we grateful, because we wouldn't have it any other way. We want you to keep those who perished or were injured in your prayers. For those of you who were wondering why we were so hesitant on yesterday to not give you any formal and or official numbers, it was because we knew those numbers would be moving, and we knew what would happen as daylight came upon us, that the investigators on the ground, and along with their communication with our area hospitals, they would gather more intelligence. So Philadelphia, I want you to know that we will not act in haste as we are reporting on this issue. As much as we might want to communicate immediately, we will not share any information with you that has not been cross-referenced through cross-sector collaboration, and that's extremely important. We will update the public and the press regularly throughout the day. Thank you all. God bless Philadelphia. And now is the time for us to demonstrate what our One Philly philosophy means. I now want to turn it over to our governor, who's been here with us from the start, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro.
Thank you, Mayor. Let me begin by affirming what the mayor said at the conclusion of her remarks, that the city is working around the clock to keep people safe, to understand what happened, and to be there for those who are impacted. The city's been working around the clock at the direction of a strong and steady mayor in Sherelle Parker. And I want to say thank you to the mayor for her leadership. Leadership matters in moments of crisis, and demonstrated here by Sherelle Parker, our mayor. I also want to reaffirm what the mayor said about everybody working together with common purpose. There are no silos or stovepipes. Instead, it is everyone joining forces together. I want to lift up those state resources that have been here in Northeast Philadelphia working around the clock. I want to thank the mayor for referencing them. At the request of Commissioner Bethley, your outstanding police commissioner, Colonel Christopher Paris, the Pennsylvania State Police, who joins me here to the left of the mayor, has dispatched roughly 50 members of the Pennsylvania State Police from Troops K and N, and we thank them for their work here. FEMA, the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Authority, has been on the ground since last night under the leadership of Director Randy Padfield, who slept here last night to work together with Director Teal and the other leaders here in the city, has made sure the city of Philadelphia has all of the resources they need. FEMA and the Pennsylvania State Police are no stranger to tragedies, and we will bring our expertise to support the work happening here locally on the ground. As I mentioned last night, I've been in communication directly with the United States Department of Transportation Secretary Duffy. He's asked if we need any additional resources. We do not. They have dispatched members of the FAA, and the NTSB has also been dispatched. We want to thank the federal government and our federal partners for their support. The Mayor alluded to this earlier, and I just want to put an exclamation point on it. We are joined by several state representatives and our state senator for this community. Everyone is here on the ground. They're here on the ground not just to address you, but they've been here on the ground for their neighbors. I know that the good people of Northeast Philadelphia this morning at daybreak came, walked out from their homes, came down from their stoops, and saw carnage in their communities, saw fuselage, saw destruction, and saw things that no one should ever have to experience in their neighborhoods. We also saw the very best of Northeast Philly, neighbor helping neighbor, folks looking out for one another. That's the Philly way. That's the Philly spirit. That's what the mayor preaches all the time about One Philly. This is not just a group of emergency response professionals working together at the state, local, and federal level. This is neighbors working together to look out for one another. Our neighborhood has expanded over the last several hours. Northeast Philly to the entire city of Philadelphia, to the entire Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and of course to our neighbors all across the world. I want to make special mention of Consul General Carlos Obrador, who joins us here today. His nation suffered loss in this tragedy. We are with you, Mr. Consul General. The entire Commonwealth of Pennsylvania stands with you. This is the One Philly way, outreaching our arms to bring warmth and comfort and love to one another. I'll close by echoing the sentiment that the mayor shared. She's a praying mayor, I'm a praying governor, and I want to offer my prayers to all of those who are impacted. May God's light shine upon this wonderful city and all of its inhabitants. May we lift up those who are mourning and those who are in a moment of strife. This is a time for us all to join together in prayer and in common purpose. And that's exactly what is happening here in the city of Philadelphia, in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Madam Mayor, thank you for your strong leadership.
We are going to make sure that we take a few questions.
Yes. Can you tell us about structural damage to the neighborhood, and also if you believe there will be other fatalities that you can identify?
Well, what I want to do is ask our managing director, Adam Teal, and also our fire commissioner to come forward. Teal.
We've had, in this incredible tragedy that exists, the Philadelphia Fire Department did have 5 dwelling fires that were involved. Those fires were completely extinguished. Our fire marshals are on location continuing to investigate and search every one of those affected dwellings.
As anybody who's been here on the scene or seen the scope and the scale of this incident can attest, this is a very large area with a lot of damage. And we are still working in a number of different ways to assess that damage. Right now, we are doing another, what we call a grid search of this entire roughly 4 to 6 block area, a very dense area, to ensure that we have found everything that we need to find, that we have checked in, as you heard the mayor say, with all of the residents, and we will continue to do that. We have teams who are going literally house by house, door to door, and also our license and inspection personnel are inspecting all of those dwellings, all the dwellings in the area, so we can be sure that we don't have other hidden damage or structural damage, and it is possible that we will still find that. So as you heard, this is still a very active and fluid situation. It is entirely possible there will be changes to those casualty figures that you heard. And this is why, as you heard the mayor say, we are being very thoughtful and intentional about this. We have a number of patients who are currently in hospital. We have a lot of unknowns about who was where on the streets of this neighborhood last night at the time of impact. So it will likely be days or more until we are able to definitively answer the question about the number of folks who perished in this tragedy and the outcome for those who are injured. Right now, I would certainly echo, please pray for all of those affected by, otherwise keep them in your thoughts, this tragedy. Adam Teal, I'm the managing director for the city of Philadelphia.
Thank you for the governor or the mayor. Can you give any insight if the NTSB briefings have been under a black box or anything from the plan itself?
Let me just state for the record that the NTSB, the FAA, all of our intergovernmental collaboration, it is all a part of an active investigation. When they formally have something that they can report, they will do a separate a press conference or press avail to affirm what they have recovered as a result of their investigation. But again, a special thanks to them for working in partnership with us. I also just want to state this for the record because it came to light during one of our briefings earlier. There may have been some people in the area last night when the explosion occurred, and they may wake up and go out to get into their cars. They live in another part of the city, and they may have evidence actually on their cars. If that happens to be you, don't touch it. Just call 911 immediately. Our forensics unit, are just an amazing job, but everything is essential to us addressing this tragedy. So just call 911 if that's the case.
At this time, do you know how far-reaching the debris field is?
The area of impact, that area is roughly 4 to 6 blocks. And we also have debris in remote area where something happened with the aircraft, and that's something we'll need to leave the NTSB to talk about. So it's a very widespread area, and we are still trying to understand the entire scope. So as you heard the mayor say, it's possible that if you are somewhere not even near here, somewhere between this location and Northeast Airport, you may go out and find something in your yard, something in your car. Please, as you heard her say, don't touch it, call 911. We need to know that. This is still relatively early in the long-term trajectory of this incident.
So pieces of the plane were falling before the impact?
That will all be information you will hear from the NTSB at the appropriate time. The question about how large is this incident, we are still trying to understand that completely.
Director Teal, we talked about missing people. If there are missing people or people who haven't yet been accounted for, or people at the hospitals who haven't been identified, how do people get that information?
For right now, call 911. It's very important. The police department has a very robust way that they deal with missing persons cases. So if you haven't seen somebody, you think somebody might have been in this area, there's a relative in this area, and you haven't seen or heard from them, and you're concerned, call 911, and we will take it from there. Thank you, everybody.
That's it.
Thank you, everyone.
Before we conclude, let me state for the record, Managing Director Teal, Police Commissioner Kevin Bethel, Dominic, our fire commissioner, I have to say a special thank you to each of you for your leadership. To my senior team, Tiffany Thurman, Chief of Staff for the City of Philadelphia, Sincere Harris, Chief Deputy Mayor, Vanessa Garrett Harley, Chief Deputy Mayor, and the entire Parker administration, cabinet. Thank you all so very much for your support and the hard work that you have demonstrated. We will get through this, and we will get through it together. Thank you all so very much, and we'll report back later.
Thank you, everybody.
That was a report from the mayor's office in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, live. Now, folks, this is a fluid situation. As the mayor said, and as Adam Deal said, and I've been in contact with his office and him today, please understand this is a fluid situation. I, again, echo his sentiment. Do not believe everything that you hear in the news media. Don't believe social media. Get to the source. If you have direct questions, get to the source. Don't believe the lies that are out there. This morning, I've heard so many lies and conjectures and everything else. Don't go with it. Okay? Now, this is the third plane crash since January 2nd. January 2nd, over in Fontana, California, there was a light plane that crashed into a business in a commercial industrial area. The second was in Washington, D.C. On Wednesday night. This is the third, Friday night, last night. Please bear with the NTSB, the FBI, the local police and services in Pennsylvania to get information about this crash. Now, there were 6 people on the plane. There's a flight nurse, a doctor, 2 pilots, and the pediatric patient and the patient's mother that were on the plane. All 6 perished, as well as 1 person on the ground that was in a vehicle. There are 19 people that have been injured so far. 19 people have been injured on the ground so far. Please be patient with this. This is a fluid situation. These numbers can change. I don't think the numbers will change with the people on the plane, but the number of people on the ground will change. We will have further information out of Philly, possibly even later this afternoon or this evening. But for now, please let the investigation go forward. Okay? Please let it go forward. If you are in Philadelphia, stay out of the crash area. Do not go near it. It's cordoned off by police. You're not going to get anywhere near it. And if you are, you will be arrested. This is a crime scene. It's being handled as a crime scene. Whether it is a crime or not remains to be seen, but they're handling it as a crime scene to protect the evidence. Also, one of the things the mayor and also Adam Deal, who's the managing director of OEM over there in Philly, said, if you find something in your yard or on the ground that may or may not be affiliated with this accident, leave it alone. Don't touch it. Don't have anybody else touch it. Call the police and let them handle it. Okay? So please do that. Does anybody here in the chat have any questions? Anybody that's watching this can come up in the chat and ask questions. We'll be happy to address those questions now. Bill Zio says they have a question about the DC crash. Why aren't they releasing the name of the pilot or the helicopter? The family of the pilot does not want that information to go out. That's the reason. Yes, Chevy, this is horrible. Do you guys have any questions? Nimpy says they went to school. With the niece of one of the pilots. Are you sure that's the case? Yes. Yes, I am. Lamazlight said, did it look like in either one that there was any kind of projectile? No, not at this time. Brazil says, I could understand if it was a civilian, but this is military personnel. I agree. But it is a family. I assure you, it is a family that asked that information not come out. We verified that. Yes, Laura, the crash is so much worse than anybody even could believe happened. Now, there have been questions that have come my way, and I want to address this. The number of fatalities is 6 in the plane and 1 on the ground. A car was hit, and the person in the car died. There are 19 people that are injured, and like I said, that is a fluid situation. That could change. There could be additional people that are injured that have not been accounted for as of yet. That also could change with anybody in the hospital that may have been seriously injured, that they could also pass away. So that number could change. This is a horrific situation. Burn injuries, burn and also injuries from flying material, from the plane or otherwise. There was an air tank, a medical air tank that you may have seen me with years ago. Also, other people you've seen pulling or carrying air tanks with them that need additional air. An air tank from the plane was found 2 blocks away in the McDonald's parking lot there in Philadelphia. So things were thrown out of the plane. There was an explosion, okay? When that plane hit the ground, there was an explosion. And the power of that blast could throw material in any direction for very reach of crashes, yes. Absolutely. It is excessive. Surgery says some of the videos I've seen really wild. Rest in peace prayers for all involved. I agree. I am also a praying man. Most of you who know me know that I am a praying man. We have to offer up prayers, and I would ask everybody to keep them in your prayers and in your thoughts. Those people that are injured need our prayers. Those families of those involved in the plane and in the car also need our prayers. They're going through a lot. George Rashad says full of fuels. Well, yes, the plane was full of fuel. It was going from Philadelphia to Branson, Missouri on a military evacuation from Philadelphia. It was a small child on board, a pediatric patient. There's a hospital in Branson, Missouri that is a specialized hospital for very ill pediatric patients. That's why they were headed there. It is the only hospital of its kind except in Los Angeles or San Diego. That's why they were headed there. Were there fatalities on the ground? Yes, there was one person in a car that died at the scene. There may be more. There may be more. Now, those of you that may suggest that this was not a coincidence, that there's other things happening, I'm not even going to address that at this point in time. Yes, I know things are happening all over the world and in our own country. But right now, this is not the time to suggest that kind of thing. Okay? This was a private plane, okay? Someone's asking, was this military or a Piper? This was not a Piper plane. This was a Lear 55 jet. This was a Lear jet that was modified for medical transportation. Any other questions? Yes, this was an air ambulance. As I said, there were 2 pilots on board. There was a flight doctor and a flight nurse, the pediatric patient, and the mother of the patient on board the aircraft. 1 person was in the car that died at the scene. How big is a Learjet? It's not big. It's a rather small emergency jet. It's not a Piper plane by any stretch of the imagination. It's not a Cherokee. It's not anything like that. This is a Learjet, okay? It's a small Learjet. Okay, if there's not any other questions, I'm going to let this go right now. Like I said, I will be back on the air possibly later this afternoon or this evening to update the details. I've been asked to keep the details close to my vest right now as a result of what has happened. Okay? I'm being asked to keep the details of what happened close to my vest right now until the investigation goes further. And as soon as I have any further information, I will give it to you. Okay? Any other questions? God be with these families of the victims of this accident. God be with them and bless them. And also our first responders on the scene. Whenever you see a first responder on a scene like this, they're also going to feel this within their soul. You cannot possibly stand there and not be affected. So we need to keep those people in our prayers as well. Lamb is Light is asking, what do we do? Pray. At this point in time, that's the only thing to do. And also, please, if you see a GoFundMe page or anything like that, ignore it. That is not authorized by families or the city of Pennsylvania. Do not do that. Or the city of Philadelphia, I'm sorry, Pennsylvania State. Those GoFundMe fundraising pages are fraud at this point. Okay? Yes, people are paid to talk on different platforms. Don't be doing this. Don't be caught doing this, okay? You could actually be prosecuted for it. These families are going through a lot, and they deserve patience and our brotherly kindness at this point in time. If you guys want to help support this channel, staying on the air, please go within 5 minutes after we get off the air. Please go to our PayPal and or our Venmo location and to help support this channel. You can also send us a postcard, a letter, or a card in the mail. And in the card, you can stick a donation. In the letter or card, you can stick a donation to us to help keep this program on the air. We'd appreciate that as well. Our mailing address is 104 North Green Street, Box 105, Morganton, North Carolina. The zip code here is 28655. We appreciate you being here. Please also, if you've enjoyed or gotten anything out of what we've done here, please give us a thumbs up. That also helps in the analytics of this program with YouTube. YouTube will only let other people on YouTube see this program if the analytics show it. Analytics are very important, so please do that as well. God bless you all. God bless America. And God be with us all until we meet again. Have a good day, everyone. God bless. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.